Good morning everybody, welcome back to my channel. Belinda here from Visualized NZ, and it's Monday again. Gee, these weeks just keep rolling around, don't they? So Monday, of course, is time for a Deal It Up challenge. So I've got my 3 little stacks of cards here, so let's get into it. So for the cards that I'm going to pull today, I got a friend to give me 3 random numbers. So they are the numbers that I am going to pull. I did want to grab my neighbour's son to come and help me. Went across there this morning and they've gone out super early. So perhaps another week we can do that before he goes back to school. So the first number that she gave me, my friend gave me, is number 3. So 1, 2, 3. Ooh, colour blocking. Cool. Okay, the second number was 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stencil. Ooh, we're getting some good ones today, ones we haven't had before. And the final number was number 10. It's funny, isn't it, when you ask people for numbers, they give them in order. So like instead of saying 8, 10, 3, it's like 3, 8, 10. So I find that quite interesting. I guess it's just normal. Okay, so 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 is banner. So we have had banner before, and that's fine. So colour blocking, stencil, and banner. Now that's going to be interesting combining those. My brain's going tick, tick, tick. How am I going to work this one? So I'll pop you on pause, give myself time to think, grab my stuff, and be back in half a tick. Right, I am back and I've got my supplies ready. It took me no time at all really, and as I was grabbing things, the idea of what I wanted to do came quite quickly. So I've grabbed out a bit of a children's encyclopedia here. It's just a list of inventors' names and the dates they were around and what they did. So I thought that might be interesting in the background. It's got a little grubby mark there. That'll be fine. Because it had no images on, and I thought I wanted something in the background for this. I've grabbed out all my Sharpie markers to do some colour blocking with, and then I've chosen a stencil. So I'm just going to pop the prompt cards up out of my way, and let's get into doing a bit of colour blocking. So colour blocking, if you're not familiar with the term, is just blocks of colour. So there's no blending, there's no shading, there's no fancy stuff. It's just solid blocks of colour. That is what it is. Actually, I think I do need a backing page. Otherwise, I'm going to end up colouring in my mat. So you can do this with whatever you like. You could do watercolours, acrylic paint, you could do markers, coloured pencils, whatever you prefer. And I'm just going to randomly do blocky shapes. Now you don't have to do blocky shapes. They could be whatever shape you like. They could be sort of, I don't know, swirly, what's the word, scallopy. I want to say amoeba type shapes, like just fluid line, you know, curly lines. But I'm just going to do blocky shapes, just because that's what I feel like today. And I'm going to make more than one banner, so I'm going to make as many as I can get out of whatever I've coloured on this page. So it depends how much I get coloured in as well. I might end up pausing you so you're not sitting here watching me colour in a whole bit of paper. This is quite thick paper and it's slightly shiny. So it's a good weight actually for doing this type of thing. And it's probably, I'm thinking, won't bleed. No, it's not actually bleeding. You can see slightly, but it's not actually bleeding. So I'm just going to choose colours at random and do my blocky shapes are going to be different sort of sizes and directions, and you know, not perfectly straight or anything, just however they come out. Just having fun, really, being like a kid and just laying down some colour. Colour blocking is very sort of childlike, because as children, when we first start colouring, colour blocking is what we actually do. We just don't know that's what it is. And so it's become quite a an artistic tool in its own right. Well, probably always has been. But, you know, we sort of grow out of it because we think, oh, that's just childish. You know, that's what we did as a child. But it's actually a very good art tool in itself. And there's lots of ways you can use it to great effect. I'm just choosing random colours here too. I'm not being precious about what I choose. Well, not at this stage anyway. So, while I colour in, how was everyone's weekend? Was it a good weekend? I hope so. Full of fun things, or relaxing things, or the best of all, crafting. Like, what can be better than some time to craft? I talked about it in my last video, but I think the last video I recorded, not necessarily the last one that you saw, said we were going away, not going away, but taking a trailer load of garden rubbish to a friend's place to dump it on their burn pile. So we did that. Hubby was up super early on Saturday morning to get the last of it done and loaded onto the trailer. And so we went over there and got that emptied, and I had to hop in the car periodically and drive it forward a little bit because the pile was growing as he was unloading the stuff off the trailer. And that's fine, except I don't drive with trailers, so that was interesting. And at one point the car landed in kind of a rut in the paddock. And if you're watching from somewhere out of New Zealand or Australia, a paddock is a field, like where you keep sheep or whatever. I do know that paddock is a term that most countries actually don't know what paddock is. So that's what a paddock is. So anyway, the car found kind of this rut, and so my husband asked me to drive the car forward a bit more, and I got in and I put my foot on the accelerator, and it was like, it's not going anywhere. So I had to give it just a little bit more of a boot, I guess. Not, you know, not a big bit, but just to get out of the rut. So that was interesting, and with the weight of the trailer, and he was standing on the trailer as well, so his weight was there as well, just to get out of this little bit of a rut in the paddock. So that was fun. Did that, and then we went inside and had a cup of coffee with them, because our friend, he'd been out chainsawing up a tree, and he was super hot, and it was around about midday by this stage. So we had a cuppa and some chocolates, which was lovely. And my friend, she was working on a big 1,000 piece jigsaw puzzle of the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. I don't know if you've seen the puzzle. I hadn't until she had it out on the table. It's very monochromatic, like 1,000 pieces, so it's quite large, and it's shaped in the shape of the ship, the Millennium Falcon. And it's varying tones of grey and black, and there's tiny, tiny little bits of red or green and other subtle little clues. So it's actually a very difficult puzzle, and she was been working on it for a week or so and hadn't got too far. So I helped her put in a few pieces, and I really enjoyed it. I haven't done a jigsaw puzzle for ages because I've got nowhere to do them really. We don't have a dining room table, and they've got theirs spread out on the dining room table. But it was super fun and really satisfying to be able to, you know, put a few pieces in for her, because she was all very keen to get help so that it wasn't sort of living on the dining room table for the rest of the year. She wants to get it done so they can then, you know, say they've done it and break it up and put it away. And also she can't spend a lot of time, you know, they have their own business. so she doesn't feel like she's got a lot of time just to sit there and mull over a puzzle all day, every day. And they've got a big property that requires a lot of maintenance, a lot of mowing. It takes them basically a whole day to mow their lawns. Might even be longer than that. So yeah, lots of stuff on their plate, and she's kind of frustrated that the puzzle was keeps calling her name. It's like, come and put a few pieces in, because it's never just a few pieces, is it? I don't know if you're a puzzle person, but sort of easy to suck up some time just fiddling around trying to work out where this piece or that piece goes. So that was lovely, and we got home about 1:30, so it was a very late lunch for us. And we made lunch, and my mum and stepfather were coming, so we'd said we'd be home at 1:30, and we were, but we still had to have lunch. So we'd just finished lunch when they arrived, and so they had a cuppa with us and good chat, and then they went on their way. And then we just had a really relaxing rest of the day, because hubby had worked very hard. He was very tired, and it had been very hot, so he'd earned his rest for sure. And then in the evening, if you haven't watched this movie, I thoroughly recommend it. You may not be into animated movies, but we do recommend this movie, Minions: The Rise of Gru. We love the Minions, like, since they first came out in Despicable Me. Hubby just loves Minions. And we watched this movie on Saturday night, and it is hilarious. Like, it's so funny. I think it's possibly the funniest one out of them all. It was so good. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, there were moments when I was just full on belly laughing. It was brilliant. So I'm not going to tell you anything about it, just that it's hilarious. So that was really fun to watch and spend the evening doing that. And last night we watched another kind of animated. It's partly animated, partly live, is Disenchanted. So the sequel to Enchanted. It's partly a musical, so there's singing throughout it, which I personally love. I love films with singing in. And yeah, that was fun. Like, it didn't have me glued as much as The Rise of Gru did. That's for sure, and it wasn't funny in the same way or anything, but it was still a good movie, still interesting. It was a fun watch. I don't think hubby was as into it as I was, but sometimes he will put on a program that's more my sort of scene than his, which is very nice. Yeah, so they're the two movies that we watched over the weekend. And yeah, the rest of Sunday was, apart from church, we went out to church in the morning, was, yeah, quite relaxed. Hubby went for a nap again in the afternoon. I watched some YouTube, did a little bit of crafting, a bit of tidy up, and that was our weekend. So our place is starting to look a bit tidier than it has for quite a while, because things had got quite a little bit out of control, shall we say, especially, well, I was going to say especially outside, but that's not true, because the inside is just as bad, really. So the outside's looking really good. Hubby's done such good work. And he also took down an old fence that we had in the backyard. Originally it was put up to keep our dog off of what was a vegetable garden. Well, we don't garden, so we don't have a vegetable garden anymore, and it's quite a while since our dog passed away, and we don't intend on getting another dog. So yeah, so it was time for that to go. The gate to it was starting to rot. I opened it the other day and a piece fell off of it, off the bottom where it had rotted. So as I opened the gate, it left a bit behind, and I was like, okay. So that's gone. That's on the burn pile at our Fred's place as well. I did take some photos before it went though, because as it was sitting on the trailer in the driveway, I noticed all the lichen that was growing on it, and it just looked really cool and sculptural, so took some photos of that. They were okay, the photos are okay, but it was very bright out there and I couldn't quite see what I was doing because it was above my head height. So it was kind of like hold the camera and point and hope it's in focus and of the subject that I was trying to get. And it worked okay. No, not stellar, but still just part of my memory. Okay, so it's going to take me a wee while to just keep doing this colour blocking. You could choose to do bigger sections or just do a small section, just whatever you want to do is entirely up to you. Just have fun with it. Use it as a way to relax. You don't even have to colour. You could you could glue down scraps of paper, of coloured paper, and create a collage and then use that to form your banner. Look, there's so many ways you could do your colour blocking. You don't have to actually colour anything in if you don't want to. Just if you are colour blocking with paper, choose ones that don't have a lot of pattern on. I mean, they can have pattern, but the idea of colour blocking is that it's not about the detail, it's about the impact of the colour and then how you treat that afterwards and how you compose it as well. So I'm just enjoying scribbling colour down actually. I find it quite fun. But I think I'll pop you on pause while I do the rest rather than just continually chatter on about everything and nothing. And I'll bring you back once I've got this done. Okay, back soon. And I'm back. It did take a minute or two to get it done, but I got it done. And I went absolutely crazy with colours. You could choose a particular colour, maybe shades of blue or green or something, or you could do warm colours, cool colours. It doesn't have to be as crazy as this. Like, you do it whatever style you like. Remember, this is my interpretation. You interpret the prompts however you like. This is just my interpretation and perhaps some inspiration for you. So I'm going to stencil with black ink, which is not something I do hardly ever when I think about it. So I've grabbed out a new sponge, just a makeup sponge, and I've got this stencil here, which is a cake decorating stencil. So there's a wee tip for you if you're looking for stencil options that might be slightly different. Then check out the baking section either on online. So this came from, I can't remember, I've had it a while. It could be AliExpress or it could be eBay, one of them. And it was in the baking section, and it was a set of 4. So animal print. I'm just going to stencil all over in black. I'm not going too heavy. Obviously it's going to be lighter in some places and heavier in others when I've re-inked the sponge. Just going to quickly go over it all and then get to cutting out some banners. So while I was busy colouring in, I was thinking, oh, altered paper clips would be very cool. But I haven't set myself up to do those. But there's another idea. You could turn your banners into altered paper clips, which would look fun. I'm thinking that I can make some banners out of this that would suit the Playful Days journal, because the colours are so bright and fun and kind of in your face. And it's actually quite good that stenciling was paired with the colour blocking, because the stenciling kind of helps bring it all together. So it's not just sort of random blocks without any sort of relevance to each other. The stenciling over the top is just gonna kind of make it more cohesive. Now, if you don't want to do a sheet of colour blocking, then by all means, another way of doing it is cutting out your banners, your banner shapes, and then individually colouring or collaging, or however you want to do your colour blocking, so that you're only doing a much smaller area. But I really wanted to do just to get a good number sort of smashed out so I can put them in my decorating bin ready to go for whenever I might like to use them. And I'll probably pop 1 or 2 in my personal journal as well for decorating that, as well as going in journals that I make for sale. So there we go, quick as that. I've now got a black sponge, and I must remember to clean off my stencil, and there we go. Hopefully you can see that, how that looks so far. So I am going to trim up the bottom here. It's just where I trimmed it out of the encyclopedia, and it's not at all straight, so I'm just going to quickly tidy that up first. I'm just going to take off that much just because that's where the line is, and it's more than what I need to take off, but you know, I'm only using a book page I wouldn't have otherwise used, so it's not like I'm wasting anything. So pop that in my rubbish bin. Right, so now how big do I want my banners? I am actually thinking, is that top straight? Let's line it up on the bottom where I just cut, and let's see if that top is straight, because the top was also trimmed down. It's straight enough, because I'm going to be cutting it into small sections, so the amount that it's off probably is not going to make any great here nor there. And this side is definitely not straight, so I will trim this side down as well. I just like to have a base that's basically straight, so that, you know, what I make then turns out okay, and I'm not trimming and trimming and trimming, just trying to straighten things up once I've already cut them out. Okay, so I am going to, now that I've got it straight, cut it into strips, I think, because I think I want the underneath text to be the right way up. I often don't care at all which way it's going. I often prefer it to be upside down or sideways, but in this particular instance I think I actually want it the right way up. So I'm just going to randomly cut it into strips of different widths, I think, or give or take, just to provide some different sizes. And then this one about in half, I think. So I think I've ended up with 3 strips about the same width, and then one that's not. Just randomly, that's how it happened. So this one's narrower, and yep, that one's the same. Yep, so I've got 3 the same width. That's fine. Okay, so this one I'm going to take and I think cut in half-ish. Let's go round about there. No measurements, like just however it turns out. And this one, maybe I'll go a longer one and a shorter one, just for fun. Again, hitting those different sizes. Oops, try and get it straight. Are they different sizes? Yep, they're different sizes. Cool. Okay, this one, let's go here. It's more or less half-ish. Oh, looks to be almost half precisely. And then this one, again, let's do a longer one and maybe a really short one, a little squat one, just for fun. Okay. So this is what we've got so far. Oh, I love, oh, they're fun. They make my eyes happy. They're so bright and colourful and just happy, just fun. Okay, so now I'm going to just mark my middle. You could just rule it, measure it out with a pencil, make a mark. I am just doing a little crease, if I can see where I did it. I'm just going to cut up to a point, just however far, and then cut in from each side to the top of that first cut that I made. Oops, that went slightly curved. Never mind, doesn't matter if it's got a wee curve in it. And this side up to that same point in the middle, and there we've got a little banner. Oops, put the stencil on my rubbish bin. Right, this one again, doing the same thing, making sure I'm doing it at the bottom so my text is the right way up. And I'm finding it easier to see on, slightly easier to see it on the back, which is why I'm cutting on the back. So where do I go up to there? It's about there. So easy peasy to make your banner shape. And you could even multiple layer these depending on what colours you've used. I think if I layered them it would just be too much. So I'm not going to be layering them. They'll just be single little banners. You could go ahead and layer them up with something else though, a bit of plain book page or music paper, or just a plain bit of paper, you know, a solid colour. Could do that. Lots of things you could do. Right, so the colouring, it definitely took the longest time out of this process. But like I say, if you don't want to spend that long a time, then there's other ways you can achieve it. Or you might have a bit of art or play where you did some colour blocking on something that you just got hanging around, didn't know what to do with it. Well, why not use that as your base, and you're already halfway there. Another fun way would be to a colour blocked picture, so a colouring picture that maybe you did years ago, or one of your children's done in that colour blocking style or something. You could use that as the base too. That'd be fun. I don't have any little people around to grab something like that, but you know, that'd be a really nice way to bring some of their art into your own creativity. Right, 3 more to cut. Oh, Kelly. Kelly's come home again. She's already been home this morning and had breakfast, and now she's come home again. What a treat. Hey, beautiful girl. Decided today's the day to be at home. She probably wants cuddles again, so if she jumps up in my lap, which is quite possible, she loves having her mummy cuddles, don't you, darling? But she's probably realizing that I'm not really in the position for cuddles at the moment, although she's looking. Hey, darling. Love my baby girl. She's so beautiful. She's a calico, so she's ginger white and sort of a tabby black. So there is a special name for that. I just can't think what it is at the moment when they're sort of a tabby calico. Right, there's all my banners, and so you can decorate them up further. I'm not going to, because it will depend on where I put them. And oops, just trying to grab the Playful Days journal and pulled down more than what I anticipated. So let's have a look where we might want to pop one in here. That might be a bit of fun. So for example, on this page, I could just put it as a little tuck. It could be a tuck, it could just be a page decoration, it could be a altered paper clip. And now I'm just looking, I could put like this, because I've done banners over here, so I probably wouldn't use this page because I've already got banners on here and at the top here. So perhaps let's look at the yellow page on the other side. So it's got a pocket that side, so maybe up here, or maybe we could put it on the coffee dyed side, coffee dyed page. Could put a couple, maybe a thinner one. We got a thinner, longer one. No. Or we could put a short one with the thinner, longer one. Like that. Something like that. I'm just playing around, just to give you an idea of what you could do with it. And then that could be a little tuck where you just slide something up underneath if you want, or just leave it as a cool little decoration. So I'm thinking I'm definitely putting some in here. Not sure whether it will be this page, or somewhere else. I'll play and see what looks best. But there we go, that's today's challenge. So I'll just bring the cards down again so you can see. We've got colour blocking, stencil and banner are our 3 prompts. So hope you have fun, guys. Let me know if you do participate. I'd love to see what you do. Yeah, and just springboard from here and see what you end up with. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye.